What if your most painful arguments aren't a failure of love, but a biological collision you were never taught how to see? What if that feeling of being completely unheard and that desperate need to get away aren't signs that you're with the wrong person? What if they are simply two bodies trying to survive the same moment in opposite ways? Imagine this. The air in the apartment is thick, heavy with silence. On the couch, she's staring at her phone. The screen's cold. Blue light sharpens the anxious lines on her face. Her thumb moves so fast it's a blur. Against the glass, sending message after message into a quiet void. Each one is a question, a plea, a demand for a response. She's trying to pull him back, to solve this feeling, right now. This is the surge. Her body is full of a buzzing electric energy. Her heart is hammering against her ribs, a frantic rhythm that feels like it's in her throat. This is her system screaming a warning, driven by a deep, primal fear of being left alone. And so, because she feels this fear, the silence from the other room feels like a real and present danger. And in that other room, he stands with his back to the door. He feels the phone vibrating on the nightstand, and each buzz is like a small shock against his skin. He tries to form a sentence, to think of what to say, but he can't. His mind feels empty, wrapped in a thick, soundless fog. The whole world has gone quiet and muffled, like he's underwater. This is the shutdown. His nervous system, completely overwhelmed by the energy of the surge coming from the other room, has pulled the emergency brake. It's a way to protect him from taking in any more information from what his body perceives as an attack. So, because he is overwhelmed, he isn't ignoring her to be cruel. His body is simply trying to keep him safe from the fear of being swallowed whole. This isn't about who is right or who is wrong. It has nothing to do with good or bad. This is a collision of our deepest wiring for connection. Her body, wired with an anxious attachment, creates the surge, a desperate, energetic push for connection to feel safe. And his body, wired with an avoidant attachment, creates the shutdown, a quiet, protective retreat from connection to feel safe. You cannot use logic or reason to talk your way out of a body-level response that is already happening. The problem isn't a lack of love. The problem is this biological collision that, when you don't understand it, makes the very presence of the person you love feel incredibly dangerous. The real tragedy of this cycle is how it fuels itself, creating a perfect, painful loop. The surge feels the shutdown not as a cry for safety, but as a profound rejection, as proof of its worst fears. So, because her body believes it is being abandoned in his silence, its alarm bells ring even louder. This causes the surge to grow stronger. The messages become more urgent, the pleas more desperate. She might get up and follow him into the other room, needing to see his face, needing any kind of response at all to break the terrifying quiet that feels like an ending. And her rising energy directly causes his system to retreat even further. The shutdown feels the surge not as a plea for connection, but as an escalating attack, as proof of its worst fears. Therefore, because her voice is getting louder or the messages are coming faster, his ability to think and speak shrinks even more. His shutdown becomes more absolute. He might physically leave the room or just stand there staring blankly, completely unable to process her words. This isn't a conscious choice he's making to hurt her. His brain is protecting him from the incoming energy of the surge. And so, the heartbreaking loop is complete. The more her surge pushes her to fix things with energy, the more his shutdown pulls him away. The more his shutdown pulls him away, the more frantic and energized her surge becomes. They are both using their own survival strategies, but those strategies are making the danger feel worse for the other person. Soon, you start to fear the conflict itself. Not because of what you're arguing about, but because of the unbearable physical feelings it creates inside your own body. The argument about the dishes or money or a forgotten anniversary is just the spark. The real crisis is the physical sensation of the surge, that racing heart, and the physical sensation of the shutdown, that mind going completely blank. What can you do when your bodies are locked in this pattern? The first instinct is to try harder, to push through. The person in the surge tries to talk more, explain more, feel more, hoping to connect. The person in the shutdown tries to think their way out, to reason, or to just wait for it all to be over. But both are trying to solve a problem in the body with a solution from the mind. And it will never work. The change has to happen at the level of the body first. This is where a simple, shared agreement can change everything. It's not a relationship trick. It's a first response for your nervous systems. Let's just call it the pause. It's a small plan you make together when you are both calm and feeling safe. A plan for what to do when the collision begins. It starts with a non-verbal signal. It could be a small, simple card you keep on a table. On it are just a few words. Pause. 20 minutes. When one person feels the fog of the shutdown starting to roll in, they don't have to find the words to explain the complex thing that is happening in their body. They just walk over and place the card on the table. This one small action says everything that needs to be said. I see your surge. I am feeling my shutdown. I am not abandoning you, but I need a brief pause to help my body feel safe, so that I can come back to you. This act isn't about winning the argument. It's about stopping the harm the collision is doing to both of your bodies. And for the person in the surge, that card is a promise. It's a clear physical sign that the silence isn't forever. It's a promise of a return. And so, the goal of this pause isn't to go away and think about the problem. The goal is to do something completely different, something physical, to change the state of your body. It is a moment of challenge between the panicked mind that wants to keep talking and the wise body that knows it needs to find its footing again. During that 20-minute pause, she isn't sitting and rereading the text messages, letting the anxious energy of the surge build and build. Instead, she gets up and walks around the living room, focusing only on the feeling of her feet on the floorboards. Heel, toe, heel, two. Or maybe she puts on headphones and listens to one song, her only job to trace the sound of the bass lines, as it moves through her body. By doing this, she is pulling her awareness back from a catastrophic future, fear, and anchoring it in the physical reality of the present moment, calming the surge. And he isn't in the other room planning his defense or feeling resentful. He's doing something to gently bring his system back from the shutdown. He might go to the bathroom and splash cold water on his face, the shock of the cold welcome, real sensation. Or he might stand and stretch his arms over his head, focusing only on the feeling of his muscles, reminding his body that it is safe and that he is in control of it. This isn't about solving the problem. It's about ending the shutdown so he can actually think again. Now, let's see how this works. Let's imagine 3 arguments. The first one happens before you have this agreement. The topic is money, and the energy is high. Her heart is hammering, her breathing is shallow, her words are coming out fast. She feels a hot panic rising in her chest. This is the surge in its most powerful form. He feels a cold numbness spreading through his arms and legs. His mind is a total blank. He cannot find a single thought. This is the shutdown at its most extreme. The argument ends with a slammed door and a long, painful silence that lasts for hours, maybe even days. Both of them feel deeply hurt, misunderstood, and utterly alone. Now the second argument, a week later. You have the pause agreement. The topic is a miscommunication about weekend plans. The familiar tension starts to build. Her heart rate begins to climb, the first sign of the surge. His mind starts to feel fuzzy, the first sign of the shutdown. But this time he walks to the coffee table and places the small card down. She sees it. Her body, which was preparing for a full-blown surge, registers the signal. He goes to the other room. She starts to pace. It's uncomfortable. Her mind still screams to solve it right now. But her body has the promise of a return. He does a few push-ups, feeling his muscles work. She makes a cup of tea, focusing on the warmth of the mug in her hands. After 20 minutes, he walks back into the room and says, "I'm back." The conversation that follows is still tense, but it's a conversation. It's not a collision. By the third argument, a month later, something remarkable has happened. The spark of a conflict occurs. Maybe it's about who is more tired. At the end of the day, the air gets a little tight, but the intense body-level sensations of surge and shutdown don't even fully happen. His hand might move toward where the card usually is, and that small movement alone is enough to change the energy in the room. Her body, remembering the safety of the pause and the reliability of the return doesn't flood with the same level of panic. The surge is just a small wave now, not a tsunami. His shutdown is a momentary fog, not a complete whiteout. The body's memory of the old painful cycle is being slowly overwritten by the new, repeated experience of a safe pause and a guaranteed return. The intensity of this third interaction is low. There might be a knot in her stomach, but her breathing is even. He might feel a slight mental haze, but he can still form a sentence. The phrase, "I'm back," has now become more than just words. It's a safety signal their bodies have learned to trust. It has begun to retrain their nervous systems, deepen their wiring for connection. We see this happen again and again. These kinds of consistent, small actions can powerfully reshape the body's response to a partner, transforming the relationship from a source of danger into a source of safety. You are not broken. You are not too much or too dramatic or too cold. Your body is simply trying to keep you safe using a program that was written a long, long time ago. But that program is no longer working for you. The cost of ignoring this biology is a life of exhaustion and disconnection. A life where you slowly learn to avoid closeness because it feels too threatening. The shift isn't about learning better arguments or finding the perfect words. The shift is to stop trying to convince the mind and start learning to soothe the body together. It's about recognizing that when your partner is in a shutdown, their body is screaming, "I'm scared." And when you are in a surge, your body is screaming, "Please don't leave me." The pause is how you learn to hear what the bodies are saying and respond with what they both truly need. A moment of safety and the promise of a return. If this story felt familiar, if you recognized yourself in the surge or the shutdown, then you're in the right place. We're going to keep exploring how our bodies, not just our minds, shape our lives and our connections. Stay with us. We'll keep moving together.